So the Journal of the OHP published research on traders that most people completely ignore. And honestly, this might explain why all the losing traders and yourself should be winning, all right? See, there's a study on the financial traders that's been done many, many times across all the prop firms and all the big hedge funds, etc., and things like that. And it researches that traders who underwent a very, very specific training program improved emotional regulation, decision-making under stress, under pressure, which is the main game of trading. And the results went through the roof when they did this test on specific traders, right? But here's what's really interesting. There's a market veteran. Now he has connections across Wall Street. He knows track performances from all the best hedge funds, etc. Things like that. It's been around a very long time. He noticed something very unusual, and an unusually high percentage of these best traders that were in this study, and it was only one study, but it's been done numerous times, were very competitive cyclists, runners, athletes, triathletes. So their background and their willingness to win all came from sports. Now, today, I want to show you why I think that matters, and this study obviously proves that that matters, and more importantly, what you can actually do to obviously get yourself in that type of mindset. Now, again, you don't have to all of a sudden become the best triathlete, but this is really going to help you if you're already into sports or what you think may be lacking from your trading. Now, it didn't all about science and all those types of things, right? It's academic work that was obviously published. And they talk about stock trading, they talk about all types of trading, but trading is trading across the board, whether it's crypto, whether it's Forex, whether it's futures like ourselves, whatever it is, commodities, options, whatever it may be, right? And what they noticed was that they could detect patterns fast. Because during sports, you have to understand sometimes patterns before the first pattern, all right? And I'll touch on that a little bit. Now, a lot of you already know about, say, SMB Capital. They've been around a very long time. If not, go and check them out on YouTube. They've been around a very long time. Very unique because they use their own capital without investing to start their journey many moons ago down on Wall Street. And again, they do this test. If you read anything about trading in the zone or anything like that, they do this test when they want to employ or want to think about getting traders. And at one stage, it was all about Harvard and academic students. And then they realized that it was all about, not all about, but a big influence on traders was their background in sports. Now, they noticed that when traders worked out in the mornings, they had better focus, they were happy, and they were less stressed throughout their trading day. So it was very simple that they put the equation that exercise was the answer to a better ability of focus and handling stress. Now, again, at the SMB, and I'll talk about them a lot because they are in this journal quite a lot, they started locating right across gyms. They started saying, well, let's set up near gyms, let's do these things. And this would be really good for then traders to go into the gyms before they then start to go and work out, which is just amazing when you think about it. Go into the gym, hit the trading. And that's what I do. Sometimes I do it after, and that's what you should be doing. And I get all the community to try and be doing some sort of workout mentally, physically before or just after trading. Now, again, with these top traders that they did, specifically, you know, competitive cyclists, runners, triathletes, that's what their study obviously found. Their workout regime prepared them to go into this focus of trading. Now, you'll see across all the board people rolling out of bed and people doing all these things on short form content and taking a trade, and I did it in my nightgown and things like that. It might work, and there's many people that could probably do that. But if you want to be elite and you want to get the best where you want to get to and consistent, then obviously, you know, the journal from the OHP is going to tell you more than probably what I know. There's other hedge funds now that have loads of in-house gyms. They have in-house gyms, so these people can just go and get steam off after either a bad day, or they can get in the morning and do what they need to do. They need to do in obviously their trading. So the reason I'm speaking about this more than anything is because obviously coming from my background, all right, my background is a professional athlete where you had to be at this level of performance, and it was very hard to keep that kind of level of consistency. And if I knew what I knew now, then it would have been completely very, very different for me. Now, I just assumed that it was just as simple. You work out and that would it. But you're prepping the mind to do what you need to do. So what I learned from my long career in as football was the key point was discipline. So even if I didn't want to turn up and do those results, the key point was discipline. That's what really, really helped me. But not only that, that created the ability to perform under pressure. So when you're playing sports in any type of way in front of 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, some stages, you understand that you are in the middle of this like melting pot of emotions. And that is a lot of pressure, okay? And I'll tell you a little bit of a story. One time when I had to do like an initiation for something that I was doing in Dubai, and I had to do karaoke. Now, I can't sing, all right? I can't sing. And honestly, it was the scariest thing that I had done. And everybody was like, well, you've played in front of like 45,000 people before. It was a completely different environment. And that made me way more nervous and under pressure in front of 3 or 4 people that I hardly knew, rather than 50,000 who I'd probably never going to work with or come across. So being under pressure completely changes the way that you are going to trade. And if you can deal with being under pressure, and as Tom Hugard talks about, knowing and understanding how you deal with fear, that's going to be a massive, massive change for you. And there's a tiny little thing that, well, it's not tiny, but it is so small that you can miss it, that a lot of people don't understand, is the recovery between these high intensity moments. And then what do you do? I've spoken about many times the stimuli, and then we have this gap where many of us don't even realize what we're doing. That's a very, very good thing to start analyzing and trying to recover, because then the next trade might be around the corner and you might not be in the right state of mind to take that trade. So for myself, after trading full time for like this 4 years, okay, I've many times skipped the trading or skipped the meditation, or now I've just started getting into breath work. Big shout out to a certain member of the community for giving me the breath work. But it's been a game changer. And I notice if I don't do certain things, my trading's not the same. It's as simple as that, right? So let's break down why this is so important. And we're going to get a little bit techie here, right? Well, not techie, but was neuroscience and biologically and all those types of things. These words that I do not use in my everyday vocab, right? So number one, blood flow. It's going to increases blood flow, all right, to the prefrontal cortex and all that kind of stuff. And you don't know what that means. That is part of the brain that obviously your decision making, pattern recognition, impulse control, all those types of things, right? Now, it's amazing how we don't even start to understand how our brain works when we come into such a high intensity level of or skill. All right. So the prefrontal cortex, you probably know what that is. Most people watching this video will know. Decision making, pattern recognition, impulse control. Everything you need when you're sitting in front of charts is within that. Okay. So traders who work out, if you can increase your blood pressure, this is fewer distractions. This is longer, deeper focus. And these things are really, really going to help you. It's not about willpower. It's not about hope. It's physiology. So if you can really break down and understand your physiology, which is hard. I've done some videos recently showing you how it can be very, very hard when you're just not in the right headspace and you have outside variables that really, really kind of get involved and attack your nervous system. But you can start to control those if you start to understand your own mind. Number two is obviously stress management. So how many times do you say, oh, I need to just go and hit that punch bag to get stress out of me? Okay, there's a reason that working out and training hard and putting yourself through aggressive, high intensity exercise releases stress. That's what it does. Stress management allows you to control your trading performance. Very, very important. If you understand stress management, it allows you to understand your trading performance. Now, what kills performance is obviously our stress hormone, which is our cortisol. If that's crazy or not understood or too high, that's really, really going to smash our performance in a wrong way, because that's what's going to kill it, because that's what ruins stress, all right? So elevated cortisol is going to really, really kill you on your decision making. Your decision making is going to suffer if you've got elevated cortisol. So you can take things like Whoop, you can get things like Garmin, you can track these sorts of things while you're even trading to see where you are at, and then before and after exercise. Very, very good thing if you've never done that before. There's many things out there. You can even use your Apple Watch or your Android watches, I'm sure, when you do that, right? Now, because of this lack of stress management, you start making emotional trades. And we've done this. People in the community did this last week, the week before. Chasing trades, revenge trading, wanting more, all these types of things because you're not thinking straight. Exercise reduces cortisol, which means it's going to increase your endorphins. If you know all about that, things it's really, really going to help you. What does that do? Well, that then gets you happy, that then gets you calm, and that then gets you confident, which then equals controlled emotions and better strategy. All right. If you bring your cortisol down and you increase your endorphins and you get them out, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a way more control. But when they're not, and certain times where they take over, you can be out of control. All right. Number 3 is going to be recovery. Most people miss this. Now, speaking to someone at the gym yesterday who's struggling with their interval running, and I was saying the faster that you can recover, which means the healthier your heart rate is, the better you will be and the better decisions you will make. That then comes straight into trading. So trading isn't just about that session or that trade. It's about the next session or the next trade and the next week and the next month and the next year, all right? And it's all about you showing up every single day. So if you can show up every day and keep learning from that, watching videos of this knowledge and not the trash that you see most of the time, that's really, really going to help you. But regular exercise equals better sleep. Why does it matter better sleep? Because it improves your mood, it improves your mental clarity, and you're tired to go to sleep. A lot of the time you're restless because the mind and the emotions and all these things are going through your body. But when they're calm, you can get to sleep. So this then carries on through to the next morning. Sleep's the most important thing, let's be honest. So I want to ask you a couple of questions, and I want to just put a comment in below this video, right? Think about your worst trading day. What's your worst trading day, right? How many terrible sleeps did you have around these trading days? This is where your journaling is very, very important. And how many, after sitting for 12 hours straight with no movement, how many days is that really going to work out for you, right? That's the questions you need to ask yourself. I want you to put an answer to just one of those 3 things, all right? So tell me about your worst trading day. Was it around trading? Tell me about how many terrible sleeps do you have this week? Was it 2, 3, 4, 5? Do you always sleep terribly? And after sitting for 12 hours with no movement straight, how do you feel? Just put one of those comments in there. That'd be really, really interested to see where you are at, where you are at, okay? And if you need any help with that, well, you know, applications to work with ourselves, you can click the button, get involved. We've had to cut it down now to 10. So if that is something that interests you and you want me to help you on this side of trading, which is going to be your breakthrough, hit the link below and I'll jump on a call with myself. But let's move on. Now, this is something that I intensely kind of talk about a lot in my program, my private mentorship. It's something that I speak a lot because I believe that it's the most important thing in relation to getting everything else behind the scenes, because it's your brain. It's not the charts. We train ourselves to see things that we want to see. The charts will do what the charts will do. We need to make sure that we understand what we are doing. Are we biased when it comes to our decision making? If we're not aware of our emotions around that, we're not going to understand that. Now, most people, they know they should exercise. Most people know they should manage stress. Of course they do. This seems like the logic choice to have a very, very peaceful life. But knowing and doing are completely 2 different things, as we know. We know that knowing and doing are completely 2 different things. So when you're trying to build a trading routine, manage risk, develop a strategy, adding another thing that feels overwhelming, another indicator or another Discord group or another shortcut, it's not going to happen, all right? It's really, really not going to happen. And I want to touch on how you can structure this a little bit later. But first, what this actually looks like in practice is very, very simple. You don't need to become a triathlete. You don't need to go to the gym every day for 2 hours and take TRT and steroids. None of that. I suggest you don't take any of that stuff unless you're very, 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 very low as a male on testosterone. Around about, we know it decreases from the age of 40, but if you don't have a high testosterone and you don't have that about you, it's probably lacking in the gym, and you're probably lacking in the bedroom as well. There's a good sign if you're lacking in the bedroom. To the male friends out here, you probably need some sort of help on your testosterone, all right? I will not judge. Again, that's just the way that the body works. But I don't take anything like that. We won't go into that. So, don't spend 2 hours in the gym every day trying to be like The Rock, because The Rock's probably juiced up to his eyeballs, right? That's not the right way to go about this. The point is, it's strategic movement that supports your trading performance. Strategic movement that supports your trading performance. So think about the type of exercises. High intensity is good. Heavy weights are good, but they're not for what normal people do, crazy things at the gym. They're for your mental performance. So what I do, that I trade London Monday to Thursday, majority of the time, coaching in between that, especially our Aussie contingency has to be in the morning because they're, hours ahead. But most of the time I do that, workout midday, and then coach in the afternoons. That's how I normally do that. Okay, it's kind of the same every day. Do high rocks 2 to 3 days a week, and do strength training most of 2 times a week if possible. All right, depending on how the week's gone. High intensity and also strength working. All right, so it's not just about creating loads of endurance, because that's long term. All right, remember, trading is long term, but there's short spikes. Okay, so spikes of blood increases obviously my alertness. That's why I do intensity. It gets my nervous system ready. Obviously, short intense bursts do this better. So when you're doing high rocks training or HIIT workouts, they condition you better for the environment to come with trading. Not, marathon running and things like that is good for your health, but they're endurance trading. Okay, they're very, very different. Now, the key thing here, people, is consistency. The many videos on consistency. Consistency is going to beat intensity, right? And I don't just want you to have a little spike and then do it for a week and say, oh, that's enough. You must do this intensity over a period of time, all right? So 15 minutes, just 15 minutes every morning of skipping 3 times a week is going to change the game for you. Just 3 times a week of skipping. Skipping is really good for you. You don't think it's doing much, but if you do 3 times of intervals of 15 minutes skipping just in your backyard or in your house, that's going to change the game for you, because it's movement. Movement is going to equal success. All right. So staring at the charts all day, you're locked in positions. Now, we're intraday traders with futures. We want to be in. If we get a good point, get a good position, we'll try and hold that. That's where the emotional control and the stress is going to come into it. So think about, and when you're skipping or when you're doing any type of exercise, concentrate on the exercise. Be present in the actual exercise, because you can just fling weights, you can just skip, and you're thinking about something else, what you might have for dinner, whatever's going on. But be present within that, because again, that's going to help you control. Anytime that you differentiate from that, you can control that back. So the longer kind of like you stay out of not being present, it's going to be worse for your trading. There's no doubt about that. Now, when it comes to your trading, make sure you're taking setups between breaks between setups. Make sure you're having a shot clock here. I put this for every 60 minutes. It goes off at every 60 minutes. If I'm intensely trading, trying to do deep work, this really, really helps me. I should do it a lot more. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. These things are going to help. All right. It sounds simple, but it's going to impact your mental clarity massive. So every time you have a little break, just go for a walk, do 5 press-ups, do 5 squats, get on the Pilates mat, whatever it may be. Do something that's really, really going to help you. After the session's now done, your trading session, when you're done, all right, we're not going to start watching any other trades. We're not going to jump in any other session. We're going to detach ourselves from that. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to try and scroll any social media. If I was you, if you don't run a business, I would get rid of social media. I'm contemplating getting rid of everything, even though I have Instagram, except for YouTube. So you might not see me post on Instagram that often, maybe it's every so often, but I think I'm going to move away from that. Disconnect yourself and disconnect your brain. Because tomorrow, guess what? You've got to turn up again with another 100% focus. Because you're only as good as your last trading day. So the next day, you've got to come in and do exactly the same thing. This will help you form a mental routine, a mental structure around your trading. So again, let's just reframe everything. This isn't about crazy, over-disciplined. It's about being strategic. Your body and your mind need to be intact to preserve your trading capital, and you must protect them with your life. You must protect the mind and you must protect your body with your life. Okay? Very, very simple. So if you need any help with that, make sure you get involved. We don't want any unhealthy lifestyle. We don't want to sit there for 6 hours a day eating Doritos and it's on our fat belly button like Homer Simpson, like a 85-year-old who's giving up, and some people are 35. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do 4 hours sleep. I'm a hustler, bustler, that kind of stuff. It's not good. We want to slow down and perform at a high level. And that is energy, that is foods, and that is sleep, all these types of things, okay? Meditation, breath work, all these types of things, right? It doesn't just happen overnight. You're not going to wake up tomorrow morning, say, oh, I'm going to have 3 liters of water, meditate, breath work, go and do high rocks, and I'm going to be able to make £1 million. It's consistency. Trading equals performance activity, just like sports, just like anything else that requires a very, very sharp mind and focus under pressure. And trading will treat you very, very well if you treat it in the way it needs to be treated. There's no doubt about it. So build sustainable career. That's what you're trying to do. Not because you're smarter, not because you got better strategies or anything like that, but because you can show up every day and execute.